I am ready now.
Coming to you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan.
Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
And what can we expect?
Surprises!
Engineered by Jay Timko and produced by Eric Beatty. And without further delay, it's showtime. Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
Alrighty. And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Monday edition of the Detroit Cast. Welcome back. How are you, Jay?
Great.
Yeah.
Glad to be back, yeah.
Enjoy your little time off?
Yeah, I did. Good family time, much needed.
Yeah.
It's fun, though. It's good to be back.
Yeah. How about you, Eric? Did you enjoy your time off?
Yeah, I think same as Jay just said. You know,
You enjoyed his family, too?
Yeah.
No, he did not hang out with me. It was
That would be awesome. You guys took Eric along like another kid, like another child.
Yeah.
Hey.
Why is your shirt inside out and backwards?
I don't know.
Tell us because the other side was dirty and you're trying to be clean in some way.
Yeah.
No, you know what it is? When I took a shower before coming here,
Whoa, threw that in. Nobody starts a statement with, well, and I was taking a shower before coming over.
No, I took
nice job, Eric.
Well, only because I went out last night and I knew I smelled of ass.
Well, wait a minute. Shower to you versus shower to Jay, and I mean
I even put soap on. I put body soap on.
Shampoo.
No, but I did do it once over the break, and Jay knows probably the reason why.
I do. We got to get into this. This is good stuff.
I'll give this to Jay. Do you give him any credit for this shower?
I think that was the least he should have done in this situation, and we'll get to the situation.
Oh, boy.
I think most of us probably definitely would have showered and maybe put on our best look for this.
No, I totally did.
Yeah.
I totally dressed up like I was going. Like I was going to the club. Like I dressed up like if I was going on a date.
You know what he did, Mike?
I have no idea what you guys are talking about. None.
Really?
No. This is the first time hearing about it. I don't know anything.
Well, why don't we jump right in?
No. Let's make people wait.
Okay.
We'll make them hang on.
But I did take a shower during the break, and but just like Jay said, honestly, like I did do some cool things while we were gone.
How many days was the break? Like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
right?
Saturday. I took 5 showers over the break.
Right. I took 2. Maybe. No, that's not true. I took 3.
I went swimming a lot, so I didn't take as many. I kind of resolved, well, I went swimming and.
Don't tell me he's rubbing off on you.
Washed off that lake scum in the pool. So.
Yeah, I kind of like that feeling though, like in the pool or a lake.
Yeah.
I don't feel as dirty.
Yeah.
So I
probably
could
should though after being in this pool with all these little kids and crap.
Yeah, that's true. Ugh, gross. Well, anyways, we are back. It is the Detroit Cast. It's a Monday, and of course, a lot of stuff happened while we were gone, and we'll try to touch on as much of it as we can. Of course, Don Sterling at it again. That trial has started with his wife and him, and we'll get into as many details there as we can. God love that story. Bo Bergdahl, haven't heard much from him in a while.
Yep.
And a little bit of stuff there. The Tigers looking good. LeBron.
Yeah.
The decision 2014 is set. A massacre in Texas that I really hadn't heard a thing about. Now, this happens when vacation starts. I try to literally shut down for a few days as much as you can, just like stop reading things, watching things. So that could be the case, but you were like, I didn't see much about it either.
Yeah.
You might have shut down as well. I don't know.
I did for the most part, but even shutting down, you'd think a story like that would creep in somehow,
Yeah, I would think so.
I didn't see it till I got over here.
Yeah.
Crazy story.
Yeah, it is, and we'll get into the details about it here shortly. We should start with the World Cup, though.
Yeah.
Finally over, huh?
Way to go, Germany.
Germany coming through. It took extra time to do it.
It did.
I have no idea who scored the game-winning goal. I couldn't name a single player on Germany's team.
A very gay-looking little guy scored.
Really?
Yeah, but it was a nice goal, and it was after many, 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 many minutes of scorelessness, which I'm sure American fans loved.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
That final didn't do the sport any favors. I don't think. I did too, man.
It was exciting at times that sounds weird. I understand with no score going on, no scoring. But there were a couple offsides that were really close. The one, they scored. Argentina scored, and that got called back. And Messi had a couple plays that were totally Messi-like. And but yeah, in the end, What was the one announcer had said, about when describing soccer, you watch 90 minutes and then Germany wins at the end, and this one, well, I heard him say after this one, well, this time we had to watch 120 minutes, but Germany still wins.
Yeah.
So
they were the best team in the tournament.
You think so?
Yeah, after watching quite a bit of it, I think I saw all the main teams play at least one game.
Yeah.
They were good, man.
I guess you need to be that kind of almost coach-like with your knowledge of soccer, because I feel like I was watching a bunch of teams that all looked about the same to me. Outside of we had the occasional 5-0 game, 9-0 game, but for the most part it was like, oh, a decisive blowout, 2-1.
Yeah.
Talking 1-0 is a blowout, dominated. Come on, it was 1-0. I mean,
a lot of it is you look at the possession time, and the other team just can't even get the ball. Like when we played Germany, I mean, was it 1-0? It really was like a 3-0 game. It could have easily been.
Yeah, I guess.
We barely touched the ball.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
But everybody's glad it's done, I'm sure.
Oh my God! Look at that
I'm not
deer. Open that blind. There's a giant deer walking by. Yeah. No, the other one. Just open one of them, shithead.
He like grabs at the blinds and just pulls them down.
God,
I think that probably scared the deer away.
Probably. How about you pull the cord all the way to the right and pull it down? No, to your right.
Oh.
Yes, pull it. Duh.
Yeah, he's gone 5 minutes ago.
Oh my God, Eric's never worked a blind in his life.
Sorry.
Holy shit. Oh my God. Oh my God, I want to snap right now.
Grabbed for the center and just started to pull down.
Just pull them apart.
Yeah.
What, did just rip it off the wall? Is that what you mean?
Sorry.
You don't get much deer out here, huh?
Yeah,
There
right.
was one the other day. Did you see that?
Oh my God, they're here every day. There's hundreds of them.
Oh,
There are
yeah.
tons of them. One of them was pissing on my lawn the other day, and I was yelling at him, and he didn't move. He just sat there shaking his can and pissing. Her can, excuse me. Not very ladylike, if you ask me. Not very ladylike at all.
I've never seen a deer pee before.
I hadn't either.
Did he
They
lift
kind
her
of
leg
hunched
up,
their
or was
butt
it
a little
just
bit.
standing?
Huh?
Did she lift her leg up like a
No,
dog, or
she kind of like stood there. I was like, what is she doing? And like got her front hands and her back hands like closer together, and she put more weight
So
on her
all
front.
four hands were...
Yeah, all four hands, or back hands, as I call them with Izzy, back hands. Her back hands were barring most of the weight, and her front hands were a little lighter, but they were closer together. And then she just kind of clenched up stuck her butt down a little bit, and then just started pissing right there. And I'm screaming at her.
In the middle of your lawn?
Yeah, right in the backyard.
You have a
on the other side of the
big
fence.
burn mark there, probably.
Probably, I wouldn't doubt it. It's like, what are you doing, you fucking asshole? I'm screaming at her, and she's just looking at me like, what? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm a deer. I'll just run. I was like, oh, this is unbelievable. And it was the longest whiz. I was like, how fucked up did you get last night, deer? Like, I've had beer pisses like that before, but a deer?
She was breaking the seal.
And I bet she was.
breaking the seal?
We've seen a lot of wildlife out these windows, Mike.
You do. There's a
Yeah.
lot of it, yeah.
That giant-ass woodchuck.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those damn squirrels everywhere.
Sons of bitches. Yeah, I told you about this frog I stepped on the other day.
How is he?
Oh, I'm sure he's good.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He wasn't there the next morning, so I say he shook it off. He was tough.
Dead as shit.
And, nah. I'm sure no one picked him up and took off with him. I'm sure he's fine. And he's sitting there with his loved one. He's got his wife there that's kind of nursing him back to health a little bit. His kids are running in with their school projects because they probably go to school year round there. They do it differently in Frog World. And so things are good, back to normal for that frog. I'm certain of it, and that's what I believe, and that's what I'm going to
His widow
stick
is
with.
suffering immensely.
Unlike Donald Sterling, Esquire, sounds like his. Well, have you followed this trial at all since we've been off? Have you tried to? Is he not the most fascinating person on? Well, I almost said on television.
What a
but
character!
He's just awesome every day. Every day, I couldn't get enough of Don Sterling calling his wife a pig in court. And it's funny, the lawyers who are against him, of course, basically she's on the stand for hours talking about how he's losing his shit, basically, and then she walks off the stand like she's gonna walk up to him, and he's like, "Stay away from me, you pig!" And the judge, and the judge is like, "Oh, hey, knock it off, Sterling. We don't want this stuff. Don't act like that." He got all pissed off at him, and but the other lawyers, they jump right in, of course, and today, what do they say here? Lawyers for her. But I would expect those lawyers that are against him to jump all over an opportunity like that, to go, oh, look at him. He's insane. Everybody heard him call his wife a pig. And to me, it's like, yeah, she just trashed him for a couple hours on the stand. So he called her a pig when she walked up. Like,
yeah, that's not necessarily like indicative of him being crazy.
He probably is, but still, that's hardly worth pointing to. But they say lawyers for her and Balmer pummeled Donald to the media. Today he was rude to his own lawyer. He was rude to the court. And then he walks off the stand. He says, "You pig! If there's one pig in the courtroom, it was Donald Sterling." Balmer's lawyer, Adam Streisand, also took a turn at him. It was a shameful display by a seriously demented tyrant. He proved today he absolutely has to go. And his outburst, yelling at his wife, was just hideous, but just revealed how truly demented he is. Really?
I know.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, they're just seizing all over that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. I think Shelley Sterling is probably correct that his Alzheimer's has truly changed his personality. He's not the man he used to be. And Don's lawyer, Bobby Samini, did his best to spin the outburst. Obviously, emotions were really high in the courtroom today. I know that Don felt very upset by watching her testimony. I think he felt betrayed by it. Obviously, not a happy time for him. It's hard to say much about it. I think, honestly, that's probably right on. Mm-hmm. Don't you think that's spot on? I would, you figure the guy's a billionaire, used to getting his way, doesn't like when things don't go his way, and he's got the financial means to make sure that most things really go his way all the time. They just do. So for a guy like him, it doesn't surprise me at all that
he lashed out.
Yeah, it happens. Where's my juice? Couldn't you just see her on the stand when she's? I could totally picture if he's sitting in the courtroom. They say he sat there stone-faced. He just sat there unemotional and stone-faced.
Wonder if he has his hands on top of his gut. You know, he sits there.
Yeah, just rests them on my little table, at my own table. I put my juice here, my hands here. But they also point out his attorney. I don't think this helps or hurts the case. The judge will, deal with the facts of the thing, and this won't be a factor. I think that's also true. Let's see. But when she was talking, where was it? Oh God, I had another one here. Well, I'll get back to it. Anyway, I'll finish this story here. So the judge, it looks like they're not going to have time to wrap this up by July 15th, which you said, and we kind of speculated that they wouldn't have that kind of time. And so they did a couple days of trial. Sounds like he was on the stand one day, she was on the stand 1 or 2 days maybe. And then the judge was like, yeah, we're going to have to come back because the lawyers had different commitments, and the judge did.
His lawyers were like, oh, we had this pre-planned vacation and this and that.
Yeah. Oh, of course they did.
I'm sure her lawyers cleared their dockets and were like, this is it. We're going to get this done. And they're like, well, Judge, it's my anniversary, and I promised my wife a trip to the Caribbean. It's paid. It's prepaid.
Yeah, non-refundable.
Yeah.
As if this was something that, for Don's sake, needed to be wrapped up by the 15th. Do you think they'd be going on that vacation?
They'd get it done.
Yeah, they'd get it done. Of course they would, as all good lawyers would. But the judge says it won't happen, so they postponed it. There was a lot of talk about his competency, and there was also a lot of talk from Sterling about the NBA, which he called the worst corporation in America. Do you really think the NBA is the worst corporation in America?
Yeah.
So those are not the decisive issues before this Judge Levanis, though. He will eventually decide, and most of this I think we already knew, right? Did Shelley properly comply with the terms of the Sterling Family Trust in having Don removed as a co-trustee, or was Donald duped? She duped me! by Shelley. Oh, you got me this time, Shelley.
Bamboozled.
Yes, I was bamboozled. My own wife, I never saw it coming. Give me some juice, goddammit! Was he duped by Shelley and 2 doctors? After Donald exercised his right to revoke the trust agreement, what does that mean?
Revoke the trust agreement?
He exercised his right to revoke the trust agreement June 9th.
Yeah, it's a revocable trust, and the trustees can say, yeah, we're revoking it, and we're going to deal with the assets a different way.
Why would anybody do that? Why would that be in anybody's best interest? No, I mean, I'm just personally asking your opinion, not on this case necessarily. And if you don't know, that's fine too, Jay.
Seriously, yeah, that's not an area I usually. I would think you just want to turn tail on what you figured out the trust would handle, and have it handle things differently. I mean, just kind of revoke it, be done with that, and set things up differently. Because what a trust is it's a separate legal entity.
Okay.
That survives your death.
Okay.
So a lot of people set up trusts when they have a lot of assets to avoid things going through probate, which takes a lot of taxes.
Does it avoid a lot of people coming after money?
Yeah,
down the road.
Yeah, you usually have a trust and wills set up and all that, and the trust survives you so that all your assets aren't put through probate and taxed at an enormous rate.
Right,
you probably read stuff that
sure.
It's just, the IRS nails your ass when you die.
That's such bullshit, dude. That is taxed money. I know. It's like an argument that's been made a million times.
Yeah, so what these trusts do is they survive your death and they move on, and then a trustee manages things.
Yeah. Okay. So that's just commonplace, especially for these guys with a ton on the line here. So why would Donald exercise his right to revoke a trust agreement June 9th? So they say since he did that, after he did that, did Shelley then have the legal right to go ahead with the sale of the Clippers?
Yeah, that's what he wanted to do. He wanted to cut off her right to sell. He wanted to attempt to.
Okay.
Say, I revoke!
Okay. So it's just another tactic.
Yeah.
You knew there was a reason he would do that and his team would do that. Also, Donald's lawyers continue to maintain that his medical privacy rights are being violated by the testimony of the two examining doctors. How dare you! That was the whole
doctor.
How dare you! I'll get you for this, doctor. that was that whole outburst. But we did hear that there was some clause in that family trust that there was no
HIPAA's off
compliance.
The table, right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, without seeing the language of the trust, I'm not sure, but it sounds like that was agreed upon, and it's bullshit. Believe me, it's bullshit. This is the piece that they tried to use to get it into federal court to stall it.
Yeah, but you would think that her side and his side would absolutely factually know exactly what's in the trust. It wouldn't be debatable in a newspaper. It wouldn't be something that his side could go, that's bullshit. HIPAA compliance. It's not. How dare you, doctor? I have rights. God damn it. And she could go, what are you talking about? We waived those rights in the trust.
No, it probably is something that will very easily be decided by the judge, but it's just a media type of thing. They've got it out there, making it an issue.
Yeah.
But when the judge looks at it, he's just going to be like, yeah, provision, section
provision.
Whatever takes care of that. That claim fails.
Yeah, and I would think that would be easily done, which you say, yeah, provision 9A, boom, end of discussion.
Right.
And they would know that too. So, yeah. On the stand, Don rallied against the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. On the NBA, Don said, "This is the worst corporation in America, and everyone will find out how terrible and dishonest they are. I will never, ever, ever sell this team. Until I die, I will be suing the NBA."
So he wants to be part of the worst corporation in America until he dies.
Yes, please. Again, it's Don Sterling,
Esquire.
Esquire, Sterling.
Oh my God.
I will never, ever, it's like a child.
Yeah.
Never, ever, 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 ever infinity. Never, ever will I sell this team. Where's my juice, colored lady?
Oh my God.
They're terrible and dishonest.
But I want to be a part of it.
Yeah. I'm going to sue him until I die. About Silver. This guy, him? He's been in office 60 days, and he's going to show the world he's not going to permit racism. But I'm not a racist. I love all people.
That's a quote.
I know it is. I love all people. I'll get you for this, for Silver. How dare you?
That's a quote. I love that. I'm not a racist. I love all people.
I love it too. Donald was combative even with his own lawyer, Max Bleacher. He testified that he felt, I feel defrauded and betrayed by Shelley's move. I'll get you for this, wife. How dare you, wife? Betrayed by the wife's move to remove him as a co-trustee and then sell the club. She deceived me. I trusted her. I believed in her. I never thought a woman wouldn't stand by her husband. Who does that? How dare you?
Who does that? How dare you?
She had no right to sell the Clippers. None. Yeah, I saw some quotes from him in one of the papers, one of the LA papers, kind of Googling stuff this week. And and he was acting like she's way too stupid to understand the terms of that agreement.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he was acting. It was kind of like she's a woman. Hello. It's kind of whatever to do.
She's a she.
I mean, come on. It's not like they did put an S in front of his initials, monogram, whatever. It's not a he, it's a she, goddammit. It's not like she could comprehend it all. Look at it. He was kind of shitting on her pretty bad. Like, oh, yeah, like Shelley could really understand the details in this agreement. She's not a lawyer. She has no rights whatsoever. She may be a trustee, but she has no stock. She has no authority to make any decision to sell. All of that will come out. And do you think this is true that he keeps saying that she was motivated by fear, just terrified of the NBA? That's Don's latest claim.
Yeah, I could see her acting like, hey, man, they're not going to give up on this. They're going to press for the sale. We got to get everything we can out of it.
Mm-hmm.
If that's fear, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I think she's being smart business-wise, trying to get the best deal she could, and she got a damn good deal, I think.
Yeah, which is odd too, because we're seeing the same thing that we've seen this whole time, where it's like, oh yes, that sounds good, let's do that. No way, I take it back. Remove it. Draw your swords and slay the bastards. Like 1 minute it's one thing, the next he completely flips and changes his mind.
Oh my God.
It's got to be very difficult.
Yeah, we referenced the letter where he was like, yeah, go ahead and sell. You have the right to negotiate.
Yeah.
And then he's questioning, where does she get this right?
Yeah, well, Shelley, that's what the latest where we left off, because this all, and I'm sorry if people have read this a couple days ago, but we weren't here, so we didn't get to talk about it, so sorry, deal with it. This is as much for us as for anyone else. But the latest one was she took the stand one more time, and I guess she was defending, she returned to the stand on Thursday, and what she's claiming now is that her husband encouraged her to sell the team for the best price after the NBA banned him. She moved quickly to get bids and kept her husband informed daily. When she reported that Steve Ballmer had offered $2 billion, Don became excited and said you've done a very good job. Within days, his mood changed.
Yeah, that's very believable.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
right? They probably targeted $2 billion. If we can get $2 billion, do it.
Yeah. And I heard him saying too, like, there are new TV deals coming up in a couple of years. This team will be worth $5 billion or $8 billion. She's a woman. She negotiated the worst deal possible. Why do you think Microsoft wants to buy the Clippers for $2 million? They're ripping me off. That's the way Don thinks. So Shelley says his mood changed. He was excited. She did a good job. Within days, his mood changed. He became enraged in a conversation, cursed her, said he would never sell the team. It would sue the league. Shelley also defended the deal she unilaterally made with Ballmer, which would be a record price for a team. She said that she believed the sale would prevent disaster for the Clippers. She feared that players and sponsors would boycott if her husband held the team. Don contends his wife had no right under the trust that owns him, blah, blah, blah. The trial is being put on hold until the 21st. So, yeah, it sounds like kind of what we've heard over and over, that he just what is that? What makes him snap 1 minute and go back on?
It might be dementia. It might be Alzheimer's.
How dare you, lawyer?
Suggest it.
I asked Jay before the show, how funny would it be to really get to see like a day in the life of Don, like really see him wake up, really see a whole day. Right
I bet
now.
we're not too far off.
And that's
honestly.
what he said.
Oh, I know.
Bet we aren't. He strolls out in his slippers and his
You could just
robe,
hear the birds
and
chirping.
Lawrence is in the background walking.
Lawrence. Forgot about Lawrence. Where's Lawrence? Lawrence? Excuse me, Lawrence. Can you give me some juice, please? Glass of water and a tissue. He asked for a glass of water and some tissues too, please. On the stand. Can I get some tissues and water, please? Thank
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were just...
Not her. Can the colored bailiff get me some water and tissues, please?
God.
Yes, he did.
Tissues.
Dude,
Tissues. Can I get some tissues, please?
I know I mentioned this like I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about this, but I still, when you talk about this and how it just keeps developing, it's still funny to me that it all just started with this little audio
I know.
from
I know.
V. Stiviano.
I know.
That first day, I just remember like it happened on Sunday, and that Monday, even that Monday, I would never have thought that we would be talking about this, like not like this extent and how we are.
Yeah.
what is it, a month later? I don't even.
Months later. Months, yeah.
So
it was back in, was it May or April or May when that happened?
I think it was early May. That's
Was
my
it?
guess, yeah.
Yeah.
Just so funny when you think about it. Like, just this little audio that she released. I mean,
It's awesome because we got to know Don. We would have, out in L.A., people kind of know this guy, I think, but we would have never known.
Not really. I mean, no, not at all, as a matter of fact. So this other story here, and this was USA Today from the weekend, and Silver, let's see, Don at one point wrote a letter authorizing Shelley to negotiate the sale, never agreed to sign. Instead, he said publicly he would never sell, rallied against Silver, and said he had hired investigators to probe into the lives of other NBA owners. We remember all that stuff.
Mhm.
Silver responded that the fine and ban would never be lifted. Apparently, he had talked, Adam Silver maybe, about lifting that lifetime ban and doing like a 1-year ban and 2-year probation thing if he sold the team, if he agreed to sell the team, so that Don could step foot in an arena again someday.
Well, who's saying that? Because we know Don
Well-
claims that. Don's side claims, yeah, that's why I submitted that letter. And then when I heard they wouldn't, then
Yeah.
it was off the table.
Well, Shelley is saying that.
Oh, okay.
And then her quote was, why would they, the NBA, make any agreement with him when he goes from selling to not selling? Adam can't put out a statement agreeing to back off on something when Donald is saying he's going to sue all the owners, find dirt on them, and never sell the team.
Shelley seems to understand the situation.
What's that?
Shelley seems to understand the situation.
Yes.
And
yeah.
she went out and she did the best she could. She got a great deal. And, Don ought to just sit back and enjoy his $2 billion.
Mm-hmm. You're right. I thought I got the very, very best price a sports team had ever sold for, and the best person. It was good for the team, the player, and the sponsors, and it would be good for the city. It would also be good for the Sterling Family Trust, which she testified owes more than $500 million in loans to various banks. She said the loans were called after Donald revoked the trust June 9th. She said the trust would have to sell property or come up with the money to pay off the loans. The judge told the attorneys to focus on these 3 issues going forward. Did Shelley comply with the terms of the trust? Blah, blah, blah. After Don exercised his right to revoke, did Shelley have the legal right to go ahead with the sale? If the first two go in Shelley's favor, does the judge have the right to make an order that is basically unappealable? Can he order the sale to happen despite any legal appeals Donald might file? So that's apparently what they're going to look at. I don't know.
That's funny that his revoking the trust caused all these lenders to call their loans.
I wasn't going to ask you why that would be, but
Well,
why?
I think it's uncertain where those assets are going to be. So they're like, oh, yeah, okay, pay us. So
As
he
in-
immediately triggered this $500 million debt.
Oh, no.
Oops. Sorry.
Oopsie.
My bad. Lawrence, clean up that mess. Give me some juice, please. Thirsty. Oh, boy. 500 million, huh? That's what I did today? Yeah. I can make it back. Lawrence, post haste with the juice. On the double, post haste.
Post, I love post haste. That's one of my favorite Mr. Burns would always say that, post haste.
Would he?
Yeah, I love that
great
word,
one.
and it's from that.
Eric, of all people, brings up an interesting point, and that is...
Oh, whoa,
this-
whoa.
I know.
He's looking around like, holy shit, what
did I
was
do?
that?
What did I do?
Caught me off guard.
The fact that this
Talking
all
to
started...
by the way, hold on. I was listening to some best ofs over the break, while driving around and shit. I was struck how Eric doesn't talk into the microphone. Our listeners
Really?
are correct.
Yes, they are.
This motherfucker, you can't hear him, man.
I know.
Talking to the goddamn mic, dude.
13 years,
13.
dude. Going on 14.
This is boss talking to subordinate now.
That's right.
This is an order, talking to the mic.
Swing it over. I think we
Yes,
need to
sir.
move it over or something.
Okay, fine.
We could probably even fasten that microphone to the headphones so
could
that
put
when
it
he
on his
turns,
head, dude.
it
Yeah.
follows him.
Yep. We're gonna have to.
We could get him one of those Madonna mics like they wear with the headphones with the mic that comes across.
I like, yeah.
Your boy
Garth
toy
Brooks.
Garth Brooks wears that
Hell
too.
yeah, he does.
Should we get Eric
Because
one of
the
those
show is
headset
so-
microphones?
Yeah.
So no matter
Boy
what,
toy.
No, we're missing all your kick-ass knowledge, dude. When you're
Mhm.
talking off into the distance.
Okay, I will starting now
All right.
or after
All right.
vacation.
The point you made was, go, Eric.
What was the
What was
point?
this good point?
I don't know. He just told me I made a good point. I was talking about how I like post haste. Was that the point?
No, that wasn't
asshole,
it.
that
No,
was not
no.
it.
Oh,
No.
about Vis Tiviano.
V. Stiviano, where this all started. The interesting thing was, and the point that I thought Eric made that was good was, this all started with an illegal fucking tape recording of a guy who's 81 years old in the privacy of his own home, doesn't know he's being recorded, having an argument with a girlfriend.
And now we learned is probably suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's.
Yes, and that is all being thrown out the window. And the fact is,
that ship sailed. We're way down the line now.
I know we are. But it calls to the bigger issue going on in this country with the reactionary thing that everybody does. This reaction to anything viewed as racist, sexist, homophobic, and it's like, oh my God, we're all done. Fire everybody. And it's just gotten out of control. We saw it last week or the week before vacation with Anthony Cumia, the latest casualty at SiriusXM, which terminated him over that bullshit tweets he sent out, calling him this horrible racist. But the more you read about that wasn't 24 hours. It was like fired shit can, get him out of here. What did they say? It was abhorrent to the way that SiriusXM feels. When did SiriusXM turn into such pussies over there?
Well, that's the thing.
Still surprises me.
I think that's different than the NBA. You back up and you look at the NBA and you go, I mean, you do understand why that corporation, the NBA, why that group of partners would be very concerned about anything racist.
Well, yeah, most
and why
of their
they
league
would strike
is
hard.
African American.
Absolutely,
Sure.
why they would strike hard against that and not put up with any bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that, but your point about Sirius is interesting because I mean they bend and they've they put up with Opie and Anthony and
for years, and Howard Stern,
and they've towed lines, and so.
Oh my God! If you've listened to any of those shows, and especially Opie and Anthony has said, and we've talked about this before. Anthony has said all of that stuff and then some, many times over the years, over 10 years. So why would they be set off now?
There's got to be a bunch of personality shit that we just don't know that. Finally, straw that broke the camel's back, sort of thing.
I don't know, man. And you were saying how, what happens with Opie and Jim Norton, the two guys that are on air with him?
Did they indicate what they're doing?
They're doing the show.
Wow.
Yeah, today. They're back live. They were off another week because of all this. I'm sure they didn't just jump back on the air.
And did Anthony come out with some statement? Wasn't he going to say something about what his plans were?
He hasn't. Well. No, I take that back. He has. He did an interview I saw, but he hasn't done his radio podcast from the house. You know, we were talking about that he would do that. He's got that live from the compound that he set up at his crib, and that's coming. But it's like I think he's getting everything together and figuring out what he's going to do exactly. But I was shocked to see, and I got to be careful here because I do respect all the players involved, Jim Norton and Opie. I was shocked to hear that they were going to go on doing the show without Anthony. And if you know that Anthony's not a side player that you just go on without. And let's take a week off and then carry on as if nothing happened. That's fucking insane if you've ever listened to that show. Like, to me, as someone who has listened to that show, I'm going, how do you do that? I love those guys, but how do you go on without Anthony? That doesn't even seem doable. So it all comes down to contracts. There's contracts, and I understand that. I've been through this. But what I don't get is the deal on the table changed, in my opinion. The contracts that are signed are for the Opie and Anthony show. It's not the Opie and Anthony show anymore. So why would you be beholden to a contract that isn't the Opie and Anthony show anymore? You know what I mean? And these are rhetorical. I don't expect you to be able to answer this. I mean, just for discussion's sake, though. Like, that seems like you fucking changed the whole part, the main part of the contract.
The deal's a bit different, right?
Yeah, it's totally different.
Take away my partner. You shit can him. And then you expect me to go on,
Yeah, and so I don't have an answer to that. I'm sure they will go on and explain exactly what their thoughts are, but
no, you're right in that it's all contracts, it's all risk analysis by I'm sure their lawyers are advising them, hang in there for a little bit, we'll get you out at X date or whatever. We'll negotiate something, I don't know. But I'm sure it's not just fuck Anthony, we're moving on,
Yeah, I mean, unless there's a lot of stuff going on that none of us know about. which could be the case. There were plenty of things going on in the Drew and Mike world that nobody's ever known about. So I could see that for sure. But it would really shock me if there was some underlying issue that was going on. It would. But what I can't figure out for the life of me, though, is you've got a guy who's done these exact same things for years and years and years, never a problem, never an issue, not even on the radio. He's not even on the air here, and he makes similar comments, taken out of context, blasted all over the country, and within 24 hours they fired him?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? I thought the whole point of Sirius satellite radio was this. It's not the same old radio. You have to buy that. You have to pay for that service. Like, it was their whole gimmick, their whole deal was, hey, there's no more censorship. That's our whole thing. It wasn't there's no more censorship to a point unless it offends the way management at SiriusXM feels, and then fuck, all deals are off. No, it was there's no censorship. So I don't understand. Like, it's not like they've forever been known as someone who you could really say what you want, but boy, stay away from the racial stuff. SiriusXM doesn't fuck around when it comes to those topics. You know, that's different. Then you could go, well, Aunt, you knew to stay away from the race stuff. They've always had a problem with this. No.
Well, at some point, it just becomes too much, and there's all sorts of interactions behind the scenes that who knows, you know. I mean, we
Stop
interact.
falling on the behind the scenes bullshit.
All the three of us interact, you know, obviously way more than what anybody hears, you know, in our hour and a half.
Right. True.
And you know, we get on here and we might say something to Eric, and it might be the product of fuck, you know, we just fucking dealt with, you know, 10 minutes of that beforehand or whatever.
No, that's a good
smelly
point.
ass, you know.
That's a fair point.
So who knows, you know, it's tough to see, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, you know, whether those two remain on and go forward or what. Because that's you say that's a one of your favorite shows, right?
Yeah, I mean, as far as respecting radio shows, there's that's one of them. I liked one of the things I liked most about it was the fact that Anthony would go and have these discussions that are, I'll be honest, they're very difficult. They're not hard to have. They're very hard to have. It's very hard to go on an open microphone in a public forum and discuss very sensitive race and race topics. It's very hard to do. It makes everybody in the room uncomfortable. And he's got a very well thought out, well spoken, well said, stats to back up argument. And he's one of only a few that I've ever heard really go into some of this shit. Like, what are we doing? Look at this stuff. Stop. Why are we ignoring what's going on in these inner cities? Why is it not even news when tons of people are murdered in Chicago by the same people over and over? And so I gave him a lot of credit for having the balls to go on a microphone and have those discussions. Like I said, it's very easy to take things out of context and spin it away. And I'm surprised to see that his company would back out now. Like, that happens. People that make controversial comments, there's a reason that those guys are on the radio, because they make their comments that are controversial. Nobody wants a boring fucking middle-of-the-road lame guy talking on the radio. You hire people, you hire talent because they're talented enough to have thought-provoking conversations and insensitive talks. And if you don't have that open dialogue, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Well, at some point, it's too much for the corporation, right? It's too much for their image. You know, they've got the bottom line at stake, and they've got a line. And so somehow he crossed it at some points. You know, there are just too many straws and finally broke. And
you're probably right on some level. It's tough because on some level it's probably for the best, because a guy like him will fire up the podcast at his place and have no bosses. And so that world's loss is the podcasting world's gain, because that dude will go off. Where if he's the boss and nobody else, you know, awesome. It's very freeing. It really is. What I don't get though is it would have been so easy for Sirius to come out and go, hey, listen, folks, publicly, send your letter out to the people and go, hey, listen, while some of the comments from one of our talent may have been, we understand that it may have been insensitive and hurtful to some people, but deeply
pernicious even.
Yeah.
Could be viewed
ill-informed, pernicious, perhaps. However, we here at SiriusXM believe that that's their job, is to bring up thought-provoking, and sometimes they're going to go over the line, and sometimes they're going to cross that line. But while we don't have those same views, we respect their right to have those views, and let it go. You don't need to apologize. You don't need to, people in this country, the way it used to be, if you really fucking hated something, you didn't buy it. And if people canceled their subscriptions because I can't listen to this racist monster, and all these people canceled, then nobody could look at Sirius and go, you fucking assholes, you pussies, fired him. No, the bottom line was affected. People were canceling their subscriptions because he was a racist monster, and we didn't want to deal with that anymore, so we fired him. Fine. But that wasn't what happened. It wasn't even publicly known yet. And they turned, I know I'm going on about this, dude, but it bothers me seeing this.
I think what they did, though, is they anticipated that situation. They said, wow, this guy is really, he's out there now. He's said this is the last straw, and we are going to see an effect on our bottom line. Done. Enough.
Yeah.
We can't put up with it anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's scary, folks. That's a scary spot to be at. And the reason I bring this up now is I read an interesting article today about this, and it's titled "From Bundy to Sterling," or "From Sterling to Bundy: How to Respond When Speech Offends." And I won't go through all of it, but it's kind of talking about Cliven Bundy, Phil Robertson, Paula Deen, Don Sterling, all these people that have had these comments and whatnot and gotten in trouble. Society's response to this offensive speech seems to be a very ritualized performance of outrage that doesn't get anywhere in the end. While remarks like those made by Mr. Sterling are nothing new, how the U.S. public's reaction to such comments has changed. In fact, politically incorrect statements on race, gender, and homosexuality were so common, someone could say racist or homophobic things and not be challenged because the thoughts that supported them were part of the fabric of this society. They started changing in the 60s and through the 70s, 80s, and 90s. But they say here, in all the hullabaloo raised over controversial comment, the public often misses the larger point. The focus on racist language and speech potentially obscures the deeper and more underlying dimensions of racism. In an April article about the Sterling scandal, the actual task of fixing inequality in America is a gigantically complicated one, and it's not a problem that will be fixed with a few sound bites and declarations of good intentions. The fact that this kind of speech is considered scandalous is progress. Of course, America even elected a black president, so things are good, right? Not really. As a country, we thought we made a lot of progress with race, way more so than we maybe have. We think we're in a post-racial society. Not so. Let's see here. Conspirator debate. Yeah, but basically it goes on and on. Here's the last thing. The only way we will, as a nation, solve problems of race, religion, and the rest is to avoid turning these issues into a third rail, such that expression of a prohibited view kills a career or endangers one's position. Race problems require truly free speech and free thought to solve them, not the hypocrisy of political correctness. Fucking amen.
Yeah, and
totally.
That phrase, the ritualized reaction, is interesting, right? Everybody just has this ritual of reacting with disdain.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Here's how we're supposed to react, right?
Yeah, and you've said it a million times. Is the majority really offended at this, or do they realize that this is one person's view? Maybe out there, whatever. Yeah. I don't agree with it, but. Not a fireable offense, but that's really interesting, the ritualized deal, because it really is. I thought so too. It's become just part of our culture to react with, oh my God, something must be done. They must be punished.
Yeah.
It's like, well, wait a second, back off, right?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah. It's funny that you're right, totally, and that's exactly it's the same thing with when you're in grade school and you hear the fire alarm go off. Everybody knows what to do. Okay, we all stand up, get out, walk outside in a single file line, get outside, and we all know the ritual. And it's the same thing. It's like, oh, offensive comments made. We all know what's going to happen now. Now we get all the talking heads reacting as if the world's coming to an end. Mm-hmm. And then some outrageous fucking, oh, they've been fired. Thank God. All these high and mighty people have done their job and fired the problem. Gotten rid of the cancer. It's like, for real people standing back going, seriously? Okay, that's the world we're living in now. Great. Wonderful. Last couple things here. They say, what's the appropriate reaction in a case of, say, Miss Paula Deen or Anthony Cumia? I threw the Cumia part in. According to many free speech advocates, the answer is to let the marketplace decide. Fans may refuse to watch her shows, buy her cookbooks, thereby forcing her off the Food Network and out of Random House Publishing. As such, her words have consequences, even if her speech is protected.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Most people seem to want to rewrite the First Amendment thusly. I get to say whatever I want, no matter whether it offends or intimidates you, and you are prohibited from doing anything about it.
That drives me nuts.
Yeah, me too. This Professor Brown wrote this. That's not the First Amendment. The First Amendment guarantees free speech as a protection against government, not the consequences of one's verbal ignorance.
Mm-hmm. We can't forget that when we're talking about these issues. I think sometimes that gets pushed aside.
You're totally right, Jay.
But the idea of let the market decide, that's interesting, and not this ritualized reaction.
Yep. And the last sentence here, just because an employer might have the legal authority to fire someone for expressing unpopular views, this does not mean that is wise. To be so ready to fire someone for the mere expression of unpopular views, we have become a society in which people are too readily penalized for expressing unpopular opinions. And I couldn't agree more. And the fact is, during the World Cup that I was watching, I think it was halftime, there was a commercial for a new TV show coming this fall, and it was called, hold on, I wrote it down, Cristela. You guys heard about this?
No.
So there's this Mexican girl, okay? Her name's Cristela something, and she's standing there. She's got a soccer ball in her hand, and she's just doing a promo for her show, and she obviously they know this is going to air during the World Cup. So she's like, yeah, you're watching the World Cup on ABC right now, but coming this fall, you can watch Cristela on ABC. And then they've kind of got the commercial cuts, and she's sitting there trying to spin a ball on her finger, and then they show her trying to juggle it like a soccer player, right? She's kneeing the ball, and she says, I'm Mexican. This comes natural to me. Fine. Ha, yeah, hilarious.
Oh boy.
How is that any now if that same commercial had aired and that she had done her line about ABC, watch this fall, and then they cut to me over off camera, and I said, she's Mexican, this comes natural to her, and then they've got her juggling the ball. Would that be a problem? Fuck yes, it would. I'd be a racist monster for delivering the identical line that she did. I'm Mexican, this comes natural. How is that any different?
She's the minority. She can
see,
she
and
can
that's
rip on
the
herself.
problem. It's bullshit. You can't have it both ways. You can't. That's you're always going to confuse people if you want to live in this world where, oh, I can say something horrible and racist, but if you do it, fuck you, you're fired. And I'll make sure I'll see that you're fired for that. You monster! How dare you, Jay? How dare you notice the Mexican could juggle a ball? And it's this fake outrage, that ritualistic fake outrage. It's insanity. It's the insane world we've created. I don't get it. I hate it. I'm leaving it. Lawrence, get my bags. I'm gone.
Where's my juice?
All right.
Hey, before we take a break,
Yeah.
we need to tease, and we will take a break in a moment.
Yeah.
We need to tease a little story coming up here from Eric.
Okay.
Something he did over the break. We mentioned it before. You actually took a shower for it.
Yeah.
So come back and join us, folks, and hear what Eric did. This is good stuff.
We'll start. How about this? We'll come back from the break and we'll start with it first.
Yep.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break. The Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
All right, welcome back to the Detroit Cast, Monday edition of the show. And calm down a little bit. By ranting and raving, yelling and screaming.
I calmed them down at the break, folks.
Yeah, you did. You did a good job, too, Jay. I forgot what you were saying, but I thought it was really good. That sounds terrible. I'm trying to remember as I talk. I'm not good at that. It's multitasking. Not a strong suit of mine. But yeah, you did bring up some good points. I wish I could share them with the crowd, but not going to happen. Anyway, before we went into break, though, you were talking about Eric and something
Eric and I discussed last week that
Eric's
he ought to look into. And to his credit, he did, man. He went through with it. Why don't you
What
tell us
on earth could you be talking about?
Why don't you tell us what you did on Thursday?
You don't want to say it, or you want me to?
No, go ahead.
Well, like he said, he texted me, and they had an open casting call in a local Detroit bar for The Bachelor. To be on The Bachelor, or
the actual ABC show, The Bachelor.
ABC version, the real one, not like a local area one, the nationwide one.
So we've been talking about getting E hooked up, right? What better way than on
to land
national
some
TV,
ass.
right?
Yeah.
Got some
Dude, are
hot
you going to be on The
chicks there.
Bachelor?
I doubt it.
You went through with it? You went down there?
I did it though. I told Jay, as shameless and as I can be, and I'm really, you know how I am. There's a few things that trigger insecurities in me, and this was one of them because I was doing it by myself, and like this idea that I would be at the bar and like, I just would feel like everybody there would just know, like, who's this idiot? Like, he's going to be on The Bachelor. Or, you had to ask the host, maybe, like, if I had to go with the host and be like, I'm here for the Bachelor auditions. You know what I mean? And so I was literally sitting in my car for about 15 minutes trying to, like, force myself to just go do it. Because, Jay, you already told Jay you're going to do it. If you don't do it now, then you're going to be a pussy.
He's like Dwight Schrute in his car in the office, getting fired up for a sales call.
Yeah, right.
Listening to, like, AC/DC.
It was Trans Am.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I told you, the thing that finally pushed me is I just, I'll just go in and, like, pretend you're just going to the bar and then kind of look at the scene. Because I couldn't tell how many people were in there or not from the outside.
Did it look crowded from the outside?
The restaurant, the parking lot was pretty full, but
where was it?
It was in Tin Fish in St. Clair Shores.
Okay.
I'd never heard of it before, but I'm sure people from that area know. It seemed like a pretty popular place.
I imagine there were a bunch of meathead, jarhead dudes in there just
way more girls than guys because they were doing both. They were doing it just kind of open for both show, just kind of.
So there were a lot of chicks there too.
A lot of chicks actually, way more girls than guys. Actually, I actually wish I would have had a buddy with me. So I could maybe start hitting on some of these girls. Not that I
can't do that.
Yeah,
What? Huh?
I don't have any game to do that by myself. I don't know. I felt weird. I'm here for The Bachelor. I'm by myself. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's kind of a. You could play it off as it's like a bit for the show.
Yeah, come on, Big E.
I know. Well,
Tailor-made.
I didn't want to say that stuff because I didn't want some. Because then I don't really want to be on the show necessarily. But if you do. Yeah, well, I do. But more just I didn't think it'd be funny. But like I didn't want because you can't like I didn't want.
Could you imagine if they took Big E as the other one, the other guy, the kind of weird irreverent one? He's the quirky one that the chick just can't get rid of.
I don't know. There's just something about Big E that I find I don't know. I just feel like I can be myself around him. I can really be myself and let loose around Big E. I don't have to be someone that I'm not.
Yeah.
There's two funny things, and you reference one of them in the sense that for one. And this is one of the reasons I don't think I'll get selected because they make you fill out a large application. Like there was a 6-page application that you had to write out. My handwriting is god awful.
Like what types of things are on there?
Just questions about your what you're looking for. How are you family wise? What have your past relationships been like? And then there's two things on the application, or one thing that's really going to hurt me. They asked for income. So, what am I going to put?
What did you put?
I put $12,000 a year because I guess that was like
That's what you get for allowance.
You should have put your parents' income down.
$80,000 or I don't know what my dad makes. Probably makes more than that but I don't know. So I didn't know what I was going to put for income. I'm sitting here myself like, what am I going to freaking write here?
What did
0?
you put for job?
I put podcast producer of a podcast. And then the other thing is they did ask on the thing, do you have a nickname? And I put Big E. Big E.
Could you imagine every time they show him on the camera? The
Eric
Big E
Beatty.
underneath it. Big E, podcast producer.
Oh my god.
And then I told Jay this because he actually asked me how it went, and I think you'll find this funny because what you do is you fill out your application, then you wait, and they call up like 10 at a time or 15 at a time, whatever it is, and they take your picture. They do a few pictures. And then you do a one-on-one interview with a producer. I'm sure they're a low-level producer. You know what I mean? Because they're sending them out, 5 or 6.
Yeah, they're the Big E of the producer.
Right,
level.
right. It'd be like if we had you guys had to do something and made me be the one to tell you guys. So you do a one-on-one thing, and
what was worse, the one-on-one interview or the?
Oh, I think I actually excelled in the one-on-one. Oh no, I'm sorry. Well, there was no group one. There was just like the application was huge.
No, you said you had to do
group,
go up. They call you up in part.
Oh, that was just they called you up
and
to get in a line for pictures. Then you would just get another line. It had nothing to do with like the actual group aspect. They were just doing it like numbers 85 to 90. You're up now or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But I actually think I did all right in the individual one because two things. One, she asked what I do, and I said I produce a podcast, and she's like, "Whoa, that's actually kind of cool." Yeah. And then when she asked about hobbies, I said comedy, and she even had me tell a joke, and I told her a joke, and she seemed to legitimately kind of like it. When I left,
what joke did you tell?
I told her that it was a little old because I don't do it anymore, but it's one of my favorites, and it's the concept of I wrote this joke in Holland about being 28 years old, and I was a host at a restaurant, and just this this idea that I'm 28, it's like a high school girl job, and there was a few other things to the aspect of it, but she actually seemed to really like it. Like she genuinely, like I will say one thing I can usually tell is if someone's genuinely, even if I'm telling a joke and someone's kind of just
they're faking laughing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she seemed to generally like my joke too, so that might have.
You're in, man. You're in.
Been close. But,
so you could be part of the pool of guys that are on The Bachelorette, or you could be the Bachelor.
Right.
Could you imagine?
Holy shit.
Chicks fighting for Big E. He's making out with 100 chicks.
Dude,
that's a great idea to text him and tell him to go to the Bachelor auditions. That's hilarious. I didn't even know they were here.
I swear to God, I told my one buddy, I know you don't, but I really wouldn't want to be. Like, if I wasn't on the podcast, I would not want to be on I just think it's so ridiculous. I think it would hurt my life in more ways. I think a lot of these people, especially like a Bachelor, they get on thinking they're going to become famous.
Yeah.
And then in reality, it almost hurts you sometimes in the end because everyone knows exactly. But I said if like the biggest thing is if I were selected, reason I would say yes is because it would make publicity for this podcast. Like I would just wear shirts that say Detroit Cast. The Bachelor.
Good man, Big E.
They'd have to fucking blurry screen out everywhere you go.
You know how that works. So it'd almost be better if it was blurred out because then people go, what is it? Why is it blurred? Why is he wearing it?
Yeah.
But it was definitely an interesting experience, no question.
But you talked to some other contestants, right?
Oh yeah, I told that to Jay too. I normally am really shy. As much as it doesn't seem like that, I really am shy with going up.
No, I know you are.
But I'm like, if I'm gonna do this, I should do it. We'll probably talk about this, so I should.
Yeah. Like Lake's Minivan USA.
Right.
Dive right in.
So I did ask. I did try to survey a few people, but the only thing I really asked people was if they felt like in their mind the majority of people here are here to think because they think they could get famous, or if they actually think they're gonna find love. Yeah. And every girl I asked about 10 girls,
find love. They're all there to be famous.
Said though love.
Yeah,
they all said they were here for love. But
really, to you they did?
Yeah, I said I kind of would just lean over and kind of like, hey, I'm just wondering, like, would you say more of these people here are actually looking for their partner, or did they just think, hey, maybe if I get on TV, you never know? And everyone told me they were looking for love. I don't know if I believe it.
Yeah, they probably thought you were maybe a mole with ABC.
That's what I told somebody. I thought maybe they thought that, but I don't know.
So did you see people that you could see legitimately on that show? Like, that chick.
I saw. There was definitely good-looking girls there, and I'm not sure guy-wise. I don't think any guy there was anything that special. I mean, who am I to judge? But there was totally some. I mean, not to be an asshole, but there was totally some girls that you're like, are you serious? Like, you're not going to be on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. Like,
maybe they're like producers on other podcasts being sent.
Maybe
being sent there.
Maybe they were saying that about me, but
no.
Fat, I mean, ugly.
Yeah.
Just people like, come on, like really.
Yeah.
Like
it's tough.
You know what I mean? Like, who told you that?
You didn't tell any of them that, did you?
No, of course not. Of course not.
Jay, would you have ever gone on a show like that if you were single?
No way.
No.
No.
I would do it just.
I don't have any interest in fame like that.
See, that's the thing. Jay doesn't want to get famous. I do. I've always been openly honest that I want to be. I'd love to get famous one day. I always wanted to get either famous or rich, for sure.
Yeah, I know. It's a definitely a thing that we've talked about because I dragged him over here because I knew he'd be good at it.
Right.
I know that if this thing takes off, he's gonna have a real problem because that's the last thing he'll ever.
Yeah, I will. Well, I've always said I would say when it comes to the radio, I was always very like I don't know. You and me had talked about that before when I was getting on as an intern on the Drew Mike show. When it comes to my radio thing, like I don't want to do this to be like my goal isn't to do radio. I've just always wanted to do radio. But I will say, growing up, I mean, from the Jackass stuff I did with my buddies from comedy,
he admitted it. He admitted it. It was Jackass.
I know.
We didn't even know about Jackass when we did it. Oh my God.
No. All I ever
He's freaking out. He's freaking out.
All I ever said is I personally had not watched one episode of Jackass before I started doing films for myself. That's all I ever said.
But the 8 buddies with you doing the Jackass skits.
But that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
But the point is, I've always told my buddies I wanted to get famous, and most of it just goes to wanting to be. If I got famous, I could nail chicks.
That's what I was gonna say. What is it about fame? It's about nailing chicks for him. For
I don't even care about the money. If I chose fame or money, I would take fame over money.
Dude, you really are like Beavis and Butthead. You really are chicks. Yeah, nail some chicks.
I remember one time saying to my buddy this line. We were in a restaurant talking about it. The videos. I think we were at a point where we thought the videos maybe were going somewhere. I think we were in some talks or something. And I told him, like, you don't even have to pay me money. Like, all I care about is just blowjobs. If I can get blowjobs from girls, that's good enough. Like, that's all I cared about, I guess.
Your buddy was like, so Eric, why do you want to do these, like, videos? You're like, yeah, maybe I can get some blowjobs out of the deal. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Dude, Steve got laid all the time, and and he openly admits in his book that before that book, he wasn't getting, I mean, he was getting girls, but he openly admits that the day his first segment came on Jackass, like he was in a bar, and all of a sudden, like that day on MTV, it aired that day. Next night, he was getting chicks at the bar.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he openly talks about it in his book, and I was like, hell yeah.
Yep. So, I remember we brought Steve-O into town, and he so thought he was banging all the chicks. we brought in some Playboy models, and Steve-O, and we were all partying at this bar, and my buddy wanted this one girl who was a Playboy chick that he hired to bring in here. And Steve-O wanted her too, and he tried to kick my buddy out of like the VIP area. It's like, dude, I fucking paid for you to be here. Get out of here. You're not kicking me out of this area.
God.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was interesting for sure, though. No question.
So when are callbacks?
Yeah.
I have no clue. I didn't even ask, honestly.
Didn't ask.
Oh, Big E.
I don't know.
Got to be into it, man.
I know. I think if I failed, I will say also, though, if I failed at one aspect, when she asked me why do I want to be on the show, I of course gave the stock answer that you're trying to, find.
I'm looking for love.
But the problem is, I remember how I said it. I feel like I kind of said, the whole love thing or something like that. I think I very cynically said that I was looking for love or my soulmate. Like everyone's here.
Dude. You didn't use the phrase that they all do. Oh, I'm here with the best of intentions.
Yeah, right.
I think I referenced. Well, you know what I think? I didn't reference that to me. I did say.
Did you say amazing?
Yeah, right. Of course, the amazing. It's amazing. It was amazing.
It's an amazing opportunity.
Right. No, I didn't reference best of intentions for myself, but I actually did say that because she said, "What are you here for?" And I said, "Well, because I think everybody here, because I believe that everybody else here is here for the same reason. Best of intentions." I did say that.
You used it.
But I think the problem is, I think how I said it. I think I said it very cynically, because I know at one point I kind of said, "Oh, the love thing."
So what did they say? We'll call you. Don't call us. We'll call you, kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't even ask. She just said thanks. She said thanks, but she did say, "Will say this," and I'm not saying she hasn't said this to other people. She's dealing with 100 people. They have, blah blah. But she really did like that joke. I will say when I left, she said, "Oh, thanks." She's like, "Thank you for sharing the joke," and said she really enjoyed it. So, that.
Well, thanks to Tim for giving me the heads up on that, and. Unfortunately, Eric did not wear his "I fuck on the first date" shirt that Tim recommended he wear, but he did go. So
I dressed.
That's awesome.
I'm telling you, I dressed like I was going to the club, dude. I actually put on like a button-up long shirt.
No tearaway pants. Like you're wearing that.
No.
Good deal.
Dude, I'm impressed. That's awesome. That's good. Well, I hope you get a call back. That would be unbelievable.
So funny.
Yeah, it would be. Anyway, we should move on. We've got some other things to get to, and it's getting kind of late, actually, which is usually what happens when we're gone for a few days. But the story we referenced earlier about this guy that killed this family in this massacre in Texas. Holy shit, man. This 15-year-old girl and her family, this guy shows up, knocks on the door, and lets himself in, basically, and ties him up and asks him, I guess he was married to the mom. Okay, so you got a mom, dad, 4 kids, all tied up together, and execution style shoots all 4 of them when they wouldn't answer his question, as in, where's my wife, my ex-wife? He was looking for her. It was the mom's sister who he was looking for. They wouldn't say. And so he fucking shot them all in the head. And this 15-year-old girl played dead, wasn't dead.
He hit her in the head. She didn't die.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fractured skull, shot her in the head, and she didn't die, but ended up crawling to the phone and calling 911.
That is some thinking, man, on the spot thinking. Because you
Crazy.
what would you say? You'd have, like, to make that decision, it would have to be in a split second to realize, okay, he thinks I'm done.
Oh,
You
yeah.
wouldn't, you know what I mean? You couldn't do it 30 seconds.
I think
It would-
everybody would do that,
You
though.
think so?
Play dead. Yeah, I think that's a natural response
Okay.
from animals, to play dead.
Yeah,
You know, that's just what
But how-
you're not going to get up and run.
but at 15, right? You said.
Yeah, she's
I'm just saying,
15-year-old girl. Yeah,
I don't know. You have to make that decision,
It's
though,
ballsy.
in a split second, though. I'm just saying. You know, I agree with you that most people would play dead,
yeah.
but it would have to be right away. No, to me.
Well, her name is Cassidy Stay. She was 15, released from the hospital on Friday. She was in critical when this story first broke. Yeah.
Only in the hospital a couple days.
I know.
Critical?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. She spoke to a bunch of supporters, neighbors, and friends. Could you do that? Your entire family, mom, dad, brother, sister, wiped out by this monster. And a couple days later, you're talking to the fucking at a park with neighbors and friends and
Amazing.
stuff, talking about 6 members of her family are murdered. I know that my mom, dad, Bryant, Emily, Beckett, and Zach are in a much better place, and I'll be able to see them again one day.
Wow. What an experience.
Yeah.
So what happened to the guy? He got arrested?
He did.
All right. He didn't kill himself.
Not yet. Not yet. She read a statement thing. She thanked her supporters, very grateful to the doctors, nurses. I'm feeling better. I'm on my way on a very straightforward path to full recovery. Yeah, they were on. Where was he on his way to? Grandparents' house. He was going to kill the grandparents next.
What?
Yes, she called police after being shot to warn them that Haskell was on his way. The guy's name was Ron Haskell. Hold on, where is it? Anyway, he was
Awesome
on
picture of this
Ron
guy, by the
Haskell.
way.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Freaking
Is he a
love it.
redhead? Did I see that? I thought
He looks like it.
Yeah. So yeah, she calls them and warns them that Haskell was on his way to shoot her grandparents, who are also Haskell's former in-laws. And so they were able to go over there and save them before he got there. What is this guy, like a James Bond villain? What is he like? Next, here's my evil plan. Like, why would he tell them, like, I'm going to kill your grandparents so that she could tip them off when she lived?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, doesn't that sound right out of a movie?
it does.
Yeah, you're right. The concept of them always telling you.
Yeah.
You know,
Well-
lower you slowly into this Shark Tank.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you my world plan.
While I'm describing my world plan over the next 15 minutes, it gives them just enough time to get in and rescue you.
Bond villain. He looks so far from a Bond villain.
Yeah.
It's like a complete redneck hick ass.
I would have gotten away with it too.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for you, pesky kid. So yeah, I guess this guy allegedly kicked down the family's door and tied up the parents and their 5 children. Yeah, I wonder what he was going to do to the grandparents, and then what was he going to do if he found the wife, his ex-wife? Good God, what is wrong with people?
Miswire.
You think so? You think that's a total?
Texas will take care of his ass. Don't worry.
That's the best part of the story, Jay. There's no way you're going to
Bleach,
murder.
whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. They don't care.
Oh, but they won't feed him maggots, Mike. Don't worry.
Oh, thank God. Oh man. I feel some sort of responsibility to do this story here.
Obligation.
Yeah, just because it's
It hits home.
It does hit home, and it's for the story I've told many times when Beth and I were in California, and the thoughts of like, God, it'd be really easy to push her off this cliff right now. I don't know why that sparked such reaction from people like it did. I just thought, I mean, it'd be really easy. There's no guardrail. Nobody, you could get away with anything.
I
Just
think you're.
push her. And then the thought immediately changed to, oh my God, I'm a way bigger asshole than her. She should probably push me. So I was on my toes then. I was just keeping all eyes forward on her to make sure she didn't get any ideas.
Ready to do the matador.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Don't you think
Over
there's
you
more
go.
situations than that than you realize with two different people that if, like, under circumstances you could probably kill somebody and maybe get away with it?
Well,
I don't know. I just think like there's probably more than people even think about.
Well, I would never kill Beth. I would
Well,
never push her off a
of course,
cliff. But that doesn't mean the thought didn't like, boy, that'd be really easy right now. That's all it take. Bye. That's it. And this teacher, apparently retired teacher, thought the same thing, and he found out how easy it is not to push wife over a cliff.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, Charles and Lisa Black, 71 years old. They say Charles Black. I know.
Sorry.
I haven't even got to the part where he pushes her over the cliff, and you're already
I
laughing.
know, but it's like 7.
You're 71. Just finish the game.
Right,
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, you're this far in. What are you gonna go land new pussy? Come on, dude.
I'm not trying to do a Stockton thing here, Jay, but I swear to God, that's
Oh
almost
no. Straight out of Stockton.
no, but that's just almost exactly what I was gonna say. Like you're 70, dude. Just at that point, just
You were not going to say finish the game.
I
That
was
a
gonna
great
say
line.
ride it out, but I was gonna say ride it out. But anyway,
Oh, boy. 71-year-old Charles Black hit his wife in the head with a rock before pushing her off an 800-foot cliff at Camden Hill State Park. Black says she believed Charles was chasing her when he, too, tumbled down the mountain. He's a klutz on top of it.
oh
man.
come on.
Yeah, his trial's going to begin today. Law enforcement have said Lisa Black received $4 million inheritance from her father, and that she and Charles Black had a dispute over how he spent some of the money without her permission. Also, she accused Charles of having an online affair.
Is it bad how much enjoyment I'm getting out of this
Yes, it
story?
is. Why? How do you have an online affair? There's something weird about that too.
This could be a movie
Oh yeah,
or
I'm putting it in now. Send. Oh, it feels so good now that it's in me.
Well, what about
send?
at 70 would
Come
it
on.
be things like I'm about to take my Viagra? I just took a pill.
So anyway, Charles now lives in Salt Lake City, faces numerous charges, including attempted murder. They've also asked the court's permission to introduce evidence that he earlier tried to poison her. So he failed at that and then tried to
God,
push her over the edge.
jeez.
Yeah. His attorney attempted to have the charges dismissed over the way the prosecutors obtained a bunch of his medical records. Prosecutors used secret search warrants to get his medical records and should have subpoenaed them instead, but he lost that.
What a story.
Did they say why they were on the cliff?
Well, they were hiking
They were
on.
hiking. Okay.
Yeah, they were hiking when the fall occurred. Lisa fell a short distance down the
I
mountain.
love that. She fell like onto a ledge.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
It's an 800-foot drop. She,
Could nothing go right in this story? Like he's just like he's
Not for Charles. He
God,
should have
Charles.
planned better. You got to plan better if you're gonna do this.
You know, you're old enough. You feel like he's had some life. Like I would expect this out of a 20-year-old trying to kill somebody, but 70, get some. You know,
Yeah,
you
you
have some
should-
life experience. Come on.
Well, she fell a short distance down the mountain, stood up, and ran to seek help.
stood up and ran.
Oh my God.
Stood up and
It
ran.
should be a made-for-TV like movie or something.
Charles then fell down the mountain. Lisa believed he was chasing her, and both suffered serious injuries. He told police he fainted, fell forward, and hit the back of Lisa's head with his own head. But he had no memory of pushing her off the side of the mountain or the side of the cliff. They divorced in 2013. A judge banned Black from staying in Camden during the trial. Prosecutors said Lisa was concerned about her safety if he's allowed in the town.
When's the last time we heard the no memory defense?
Oh, yeah. Doesn't the no memory defense, isn't that almost like
It's Lake's
guilty?
Minivan USA.
Yeah, Lakes Minivan USA. You do something horrific and then just go, oh, it's crazy. I don't remember doing something
Yeah.
crazy.
Can't
Why-
remember.
why
I
did I
can't
do-
answer that question. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's nuts. Eh?
Who, by the way, was sentenced last
I
week.
know. I saw
was.
that.
Life.
Yeah.
That's a little harsh. Life, really? Wait, what'd the guy do?
Two
It's not like
kids,
he
wife.
killed his family.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, he did.
Admittedly, kill his family, just that he didn't remember it.
Admittedly, he was crazy, he
Right.
said.
Well, yeah.
Just 'cause
obviously.
they didn't
He'd have to
believe
be-
him.
He'd have to be crazy.
Yeah. Lakes Minivan USA loved his family. I absolutely loved watching the newscast. All try to say Lakes Minivan USA. I would like, shh, listen, listen. Turn up the volume. Locks Minivan USA. Narusa.
They don't realize the H is silent.
Exactly, and they sound foolish every time.
That fucks them up.
It's like one time when one of you talking heads just go, Lakes Minivan USA, folks. If you could read the teleprompter that I'm seeing, it's Lakes Minivan USA. Clearly.
I still can't get over. I mean, you did say it better. You said it better than I was going to say it. Finish the game. I don't know. I know you were reading it. I was being kind of an asshole by making gestures while you were reading it. But like when he says finish the game, it just made me think of like the pitcher coming out. Like
he's calling for the lefty.
Right. He's calling.
Boy, he's going to the bullpen early tonight. Sixth inning, and the starter's out of gas already. Going to the bullpen early.
I just couldn't help it when you told me it was going to be the idea of someone pushing. Don't you think if you think of a story of maybe a wife and a husband deciding, hey, maybe I could get away with this, then it's going to be like a 30-year-old because you think he's got like 70. Just at that point, who cares?
He's meeting chicks on the internet.
I know he is. He thinks he's hot shit. He thinks he's got $4 million.
By the way,
he doesn't really have.
Yeah.
Another guy, look at this guy, another 7-year-old guy, and meeting girls. This guy's able to meet girls. This 71-year-old dude. Everybody out there, Pigman's getting laid. This guy is getting laid.
And we'll read later that he's in jail for 4 years and marrying someone.
Yeah, right.
I promise you.
Oh, I thought you were being serious.
No, we will down the road.
Yeah. Probably.
At what point, Jay, in a relationship, do you think that people should be going, come on, man, I need you to stay in the game here and just finish it out. Just close this game out for me. The bullpen's taxed. I need you to just finish
71
this
is definitely it.
Yeah, I mean at 50, should you be asked to? Can you at that point call for the lefty?
I think you probably can at 50.
Yeah.
Call for the lefty, the crafty lefty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're going to the bullpen. Here comes Eric running out of the bullpen. I got it, coach. The not so crafty veteran coming in. He's going to relieve Jay here. He's just had enough.
With his
arm's done.
Can you do that again?
Here he comes. Yeah, the crafty, not so crafty lefty makes his way to the. He's tripped and fallen in center. They're getting a good laugh at Eric's.
Hey, if you think about it, this would go along with. I don't know if you remember my idea of that. Even when it comes to relationships, I don't care if my girl wants to talk to another guy and get all go
worked up for me.
Yeah, then I just
get him lathered up for him.
Yeah.
Go home and then boom.
Yeah, let him go through the stretching and warm-ups for you. You come in and close it out.
I'm fine with that, dude. I'm fine with going home. She could be sexting guys all day if she wants, as long as when I get home,
Yep. You can come in and close the game.
Right.
I got the win.
My God.
What do you think though, Jake? 60 is 60 the cutoff? Where it's like no. We're not going to the bullpen now. You finish this thing out.
I think 70's right on the cusp. I think 70's right on the cusp. I think even 60,
65, 70.
Yeah, right around retirement.
Yeah.
I'd agree. At that point, why even just? You really can't just ride it out? My God.
I know we're not going to get an answer to this, but also while we were out, we got some more information about the Charles Bothewell V.
Yeah, that poor little kid.
Yeah, the 12-year-old. And just some more details. Last we knew he was about to be interviewed by the courts and that social services and all that kind of stuff. Well, he was interviewed by them, and they've got this 6-page report. And in the papers now, we're getting some details about what was going on in that house with him.
Right, what he reported.
Exactly, and this is what the kid reported. He says he was found June 25th shivering and hungry in his family's home. The allegations of physical and verbal abuse are contained in this 6-page document I'm talking about. According to the allegations, he was subjected to marathon sessions of exercise, forced to get up around 5 a.m. and do 2 grueling workouts every day of the week. The morning exercise included 100 push-ups, 200 sit-ups, 100 jumping jacks, 25 arm curls per arm with a 25-pound weight and 5,000 revolutions on an elliptical. A near-identical workout was done in the evening. He also told investigators he was physically disciplined by his father with the PVC pipe on his buttocks, feet, chest, head, thighs, sides, and arms, often too sore to sit down, he said. Charlie was beat so severely by his father with the PVC pipe that the skin on his buttocks split open in several areas. God, buttocks is a weird word. It really is.
I almost had I was laughing and
I was actually waiting for.
I held back.
I knew you couldn't because it was a 12-year-old boy.
Bad,
yeah,
dude, I couldn't do it. But honestly, if it wasn't, I would have laughed.
Yeah, I know you would have.
I made an effort to not.
I appreciate that. I thought it was coming anyways. Let's see. So he was examined at Children's Hospital the day he was found. A doctor at the hospital found evidence of physical abuse and found a scar on the youngster's chest and buttocks, of course. FBI agents found the PVC pipe with blood on it. We knew that already. He also said that he'd been punched by his stepmother. Nice woman. He said once she told him, "Unlike you, I know where the sharp knives are, and I can make you disappear." I'm sure Gabs told the kids that a time or two, right? God, can you even imagine saying that to a kid? "I know where the knives are, I can make you disappear." What the fuck is wrong with people? Let's see here. This is the part that why I wanted to bring this up, though. He says the woman led him back into the basement area along a wall. Oh no. "If you don't want anything bad to happen, you better get out of my face, and then I've got a place for you to go." So she puts him in the basement, and according to the report, the woman led the child back into the basement area along a wall. He said he was ecstatic when police and other authorities found him. "I was so excited when I heard they were going to move the box I was behind because I knew they were going to find me."
See, even then he doesn't cry out or call out to him.
Yeah, how scared
as shit, right?
must that kid have been? So you're telling me for 11 days he was behind that box the whole time? They sent the FBI there, the dogs, and all they had to do was move a little box, and they could have found him? And all this is going on, and he's so fucking scared he still doesn't say anything?
Yeah.
Dude,
Wow.
that's insanity.
But this story doesn't answer our ultimate question.
Yeah.
Why the hell did the parents call the cops?
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
Report him missing.
Yeah. Unless the mom put him there and the dad had no idea he was there. Is it possible the dad had no idea that his wife, this kid's stepmom, put him there and swore don't make a sound? And for 11 days the dad didn't know and the dad called the police? Is that possible?
I think the initial stories, though, said it was a stepmom who called.
Really?
Yeah, I'm remembering that.
Then it just doesn't make sense
It
anymore.
makes no sense. Why would you call them to your house, get them involved in this?
Yeah. You know that once they get involved, they're not going to go away until something is resolved. They don't just go, "Well, call us if you find anything. Let us know if he turns up." That's never going to happen. So why? None of this makes any sense. I can't figure any... I'm trying to think of any like weird thought they could have had where it was like, "Oh boy, we didn't think about that."
No, if I'm right in remembering that the stepmom called police, there is no sense to this.
It's everything I read says the parents called. The parents called the police. Does that mean his original wife, who was this kid's actual mom? I don't know. It just says the parents, and it's led us to believe that it was Charlie the fourth, and his stupid wife,
who reacted so genuinely with Nancy Grace. Remember?
Right? Yeah, him. You mean? What? You my son? What? Is he okay?
Never asked.
Never asked. Yeah. Well, they've taken their other kids and put them elsewhere, but they're trying to keep them all together. I think it's important.
Foster home.
Yeah. So which is terrible.
It is, man.
Oh, talk about taking a family and ripping the whole thing apart. Imagine that growing up. We all had brothers, have brothers and sisters and stuff. Like, I can't imagine being
all of a sudden you're 8 or 9,
moved.
10 years old, and you're just moved in with some family.
Some weird family who's trying to tell you they love you now, like family, and you're going, what?
Going to some new school. It's just...
Yeah. New school, new friends, and you're supposed to just fit in, and you don't know where your brother and sister ended up. I mean, dude, that would be...
blows.
That would totally blow. Yeah. Well, we should probably call it for today. Do we have any email though?
We do have a few email.
While we are gone.
Yeah. One follow-up by Brian. You might remember Brian's email a couple weeks back where he was sort of like, "Guys, slow down. This daily thing's killing me because I'm going golfing and I'm going camping." We're like, "Ooh, Brian."
He was a few shows behind.
Yeah. He says, and I'll abbreviate this.
And that stemmed from when we said we were going on vacation for a few days.
No, we hadn't even mentioned that. He was like, "Why don't you? Why don't you go on vacation? Because I'm on vacation." He says, "What's up, cockknockers?
Right.
I'm back from vacation, catching up on the podcast. Here are some notes." He chimes in about agreeance, and then he gets to the take a break email. He says, "I was on my golf trip, apparently blackout drunk when I wrote that. I heard you read it, thought it sounded familiar, and then found it in my sent emails. Apparently your well-being is a top priority when I'm hammered drunk. Weird."
That's hilarious.
So the dude the dudes listen to the podcast, go, wow, that kind of sounds like something I'd say. And he
Or
starts,
I did say.
yeah,
That's
goes into
hilarious.
his sent email. Sure enough, that's frightening, actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Says I can no longer say juice without saying it like Mike and Don. Good thing it only comes up around breakfast or when I'm talking about my favorite Tupac movie.
Can I get some juice, please?
Says my your sexy counting made me fucking nauseous. Seriously, that was fucked up. In my opinion.
The what?
Your sexy counting.
Sexy counting?
Yeah.
When were we doing that?
Remember when we were trying to change our voice into sexy voices?
Oh, God, yeah.
When we were told that males cannot make a sexy voice, and
Yeah.
we proved everyone wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He said, seriously, that was fucked up. In my opinion, you owe me some Beth counting. Huh? I'll have to have Beth back on to count.
All right.
Love you guys.
Yeah.
Keep up the big work, keep up the good work, Brian. Thank you, Brian. Let's see here. Oh, we got a cool one. This is cool when we hear from people who are out of town who listen, because you forget. Shit, it's on the internet. You can get it anywhere, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, this guy says from Todd. Todd C. writes in, I'm a supporter of the show and have listened to your podcast from Iraq, Afghanistan, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Thailand, Japan, and I'm currently stationed on Antigua Island in the Caribbean.
Wow.
I miss the D, but between Mike, Jay, and even Eric, I get a little piece of home no matter where I'm stationed. Keep up the good work, guys. We are all listening.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That's so awesome.
We've got Anthony writing in. He says this is the guy who sent us the Chuck Gategum Michael Klump
Picture separated. Yeah.
He thinks Don's wife, Don Sterling's wife, kind of looks
Shelley.
like the poor lady who had her face ripped off by the monkey. And he included,
Lampshade head?
He included 2 pictures here, and I gotta be honest, I'm not seeing it, man. And I gotta be honest, man, why'd you have to remind us of the face ripped off by the monkey lady?
Yeah.
She's looking pretty grim.
Yeah. She looks like.
Shelley Sterling just looks like old lady, right? Rich
Yeah.
old lady.
Yep.
Trying to look young.
Rich old lady.
Rich
Keyword
old lady.
rich.
Yeah. And monkey face lady looks like face was ripped off by monkey.
Yeah. That doesn't even do it justice. The one I think of face ripped off by monkey, she had the lampshade head. Remember that?
Did she have that? That's
yeah,
awesome.
she had like a lampshade that she wore because she was so creepy looking.
Not to be mean, I mean, whatever, but I don't think this looks like it at all.
No,
Like, not to be an
yeah.
asshole.
Not to be mean.
Only to the listener, I guess. I don't know. To Don, or to whoever, Anthony.
All right, here's one that does look like it though. I pulled this off Deadspin. I don't know if you looked at this email.
No.
I emailed it to you the other day. I printed this out. This is a dude who
So funny.
I know this is an audio medium, so this isn't
Mhm.
going to be appreciated by people. Maybe we can have Timco post this.
Yeah.
It's a guy who said he took a picture of 2 dudes at Subway who he thought looked like Napoleon Dynamite and Pedro
Yeah.
30 years in the future. Take a look.
Dude, I saw this. This is the funniest goddamn picture I've ever seen.
Fucking real close, isn't it?
Hilarious.
Especially Pedro.
Yes.
That I want to say that's Pedro.
Yeah. That is so damn funny. Even Napoleon.
Yeah, we'll post this. to be sitting in Subway and see these 2 characters walking.
Especially together. That's the thing. It's not, you know what I mean? Seeing them
Yeah.
together like that.
Oh my god! And to take that picture, he must have been trying to like hide his phone. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just checking my email here.
Don't want to upset Pedro.
Yeah, I forgot to turn the noise off on his camera. The shutter's going off. I hit that button on accident.
Crazy.
Look at those 2. They have no clue. They're just thinking about their 6-inch turkey he's going to order, and this one's going to get the meatball. Here's what middle-aged Napoleon and Pedro look like. That is spot on. Nice mullet, Pedro.
Yeah, we'll have Timco throw that up.
Yeah, that's great.
Pretty good.
All right. Is that it? Is that all of them? All right. Well, anything going on tonight, Eric? You don't have any stand-up gigs we need to promote?
No, not coming up here.
Okay.
Anytime soon. I was in Grand Rapids, but we were all while we were on the break. So.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, let's call it a day there, but we'll be back tomorrow. And got a few things to go over. I wanted to get to this sex myths. Maybe we can help Eric out with some pointers there. And some old myths. Do rubbers work, or do rubbers make it feel different? All kinds of things I thought was interesting. We can go over some of those and
That's a myth.
yeah, I know exactly. It's no, it's a fact.
Okay.
They suck. Rubbers suck. Everyone knows that.
Except for Eric and Mackinac.
Yeah.
He does not know that.
But we'll get into that and all kinds of other stuff tomorrow. And thanks everybody for checking out the show. We really appreciate it. And donate if you can. Go to the store if you can. Pick up a new T-shirt, hat, whatever, and yeah, we'll be back for a Tuesday edition first thing tomorrow on the Detroitcast.
You've been listening to the Detroitcast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit.
Listen to God, watch you grow.